Hello, hello, and welcome to the Cleanup Step. I am Mike Setterholm,
And I'm Justin Son.
And I'm Kyle Bloomquist.
and we are here to talk about a bunch of fun magic stuff. But first, what is your favorite card, Kyle?
Oh, my favorite card is probably Warp World.
Oh no.
Yeah, Justin gets it.
Oh no.
So when I got back into Magic after about a year hiatus, and this was during the point in time where I got the most competitive, I discovered the card Warp World, and at the time there was just like a glimmer of a thought of a list that people had been talking about, and I wish I could remember a lot of it, but it just revolved around playing Warp World and playing Warp World and playing Warp World a bunch of times, netting yourself at least even if not more permanents, while your opponents would start getting less and less as they were hitting more and more sorceries.
What does Warp World do?
Okay, it's a long card, so I'm going to go ahead and pull it up real fast and actually read you the entire card, because it is a real adventure from start to finish.
I didn't sign up for no reading, man. This
All
ain't,
right.
I don't need no homework. No, but actually, please do bring it up.
Warp World, 5 and 3 red, so it's 8 to cast.
Okay.
It's a sorcery. Each player shuffles all permanents he or she owns into his or her library, then reveals that many cards from the top of his or her library. Each player puts all artifact, creature, and land cards revealed this way onto the battlefield, then does the same for enchantment cards, then puts all cards revealed this way that weren't put onto the battlefield on the bottom of his or her library.
Free stuff!
Yeah, okay,
Free
so...
stuff galore!
Well,
I mean,
kind of.
yeah.
In that, what you do is you take all the things that you own. Let's be clear, own is important here. And that includes tokens and stuff. You count them up. You shuffle them in your library. Of course, tokens cease to exist, but they still count for that number. You reveal that many things off the top of your library, and all permanents, other than planeswalkers, because this is pre-planeswalker, all permanents get put into play. And then your permanents are stuff like Siege Gang Commanders, and this is in standard, mind you. This is not a commander. This is a standard. It's like Siege Gang Commander.
Make a lot of tokens.
Landfall
much,
stuff,
Yeah.
I think, would be. I don't know if it was there during that time, but that's part of the. I haven't been thinking about this at all
No.
for any reason. Don't think about it too hard. About why Prosh would be a very good commander for this.
I mean, didn't they later color shift it to green? Great Aurora.
Wait, did they? Oh my god, this might be
plus,
the best thing I've ever heard of. What?
In competitive, anyways, don't you only get 15 cards from outside of the game? You can't grab just everything.
Wait,
but I guess that
why would you need cards from outside the game?
it's everything you. Oh no, because your deck has it already.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry. Own is a word in
Yeah.
Magic that means that, like,
Yeah.
if you give control to somebody else. The Great Aurora. Oh my gosh, how did I not know this existed?
I only know because Saffron Olive made a really silly deck with it once, where he just made a ton of clue tokens, and then Great Aurora like 3 times in a row.
Oh man.
Yeah, so, okay, there's a few differences that are really important here that make it less cool. So first of all, it's 6 and 3 green, so it costs 9 instead of 8.
Mm-hmm.
Not that big a deal,
Yeah.
being honest. Each player shuffles all cards in his or her hand. Each player may put any number of land cards.
Oh.
Okay, so you just shovel stuff in, you draw that many cards, and you can drop as many lands as you want.
Oh, okay.
And then, to top that off, you exile it.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
you can't even, like, do tricks to recast it,
Yeah.
or, you have 4 of them in your deck, so you are continually recasting them.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've got stuff like Ewit. Ewit was part
That's
of the
true.
deck.
Yeah, yeah.
So when you one of your old Warp Worlds, you would always get it back. You'd be able to generate extra mana. So you would play Warp World a lot of times in one turn.
Yeah.
Was the idea here, because your lands come into play untapped. So if you hit 8 lands, you're golden.
Yeah.
Or lands, mana rocks, etc.
I mean, red is also the token colors. Like
Yeah.
you can make a ton of tokens in red.
Yeah.
Yeah, although not as many as you'd think without the use of either like stuff like Goblin Assault, where you have to give it a turn.
Oh, that's true.
Or sorceries like Dragon Fodder.
Mm-hmm.
The list is plentiful, and there's enough there, but not as heavy as you might think. Stuff that does it on creatures, but lately there's been a lot of stuff. I'm just gonna go ahead and jump the shark on. This is why I was asking about Prosh.
Oh, in the
in
group
the
chat.
in the group chat where I
Yeah.
pointed out that if I play Prosh, he's going to get hated off the table because
And
everybody's going to
rightly
think he's
so.
Prosh. But I was going to be playing Warp World
Yeah.
Prosh.
I mean, it's also because Prosh is a tier 1 commander. It does have that notoriety.
Yeah. Tier 1 commander. I was going to be playing Warp World Prosh, but now I got to find another commander that's effective. It's going to be one of the
Okay.
only decks where you plan to shuffle your commander into your library multiple times in a game. And I'm sad that Great Aurora is pretty much useless to me.
That's a shame.
Poor Great Aurora. It's okay. But so Warp World for you.
Yes.
For me personally, it bounces between a couple, but I gotta say Demigod of Revenge. I don't know why, but I just love the art and the effect, and I have about 6 of them so far.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I had one deck that ran 4 that I was using for Modern. It was pretty bad. It was a Jund deck that's whole goal was get 3 Demigods of Revenge, who I sometimes call Steven, in the grave, and then cast 1, bringing the other 3 back, swing for 20, win game. It was a really stupid combo-y deck that ran Tybalt, so it gives you an idea of quality level of my deck building. And yeah, it was fun though. It was always fun when I actually got it off the 4 times it happened. To be like, I cast Demigod of Revenge, I get 2 more Demigods of Revenge, I swing for 15, you lose, because I already have done damage throughout the game up to this point. Usually happened turn 3 or turn 4, because Nykthos Shrine of Nyx is a beautiful card.
It turns out hybrid colors are real great for devotion.
Yeah. Run Rakdos Shred Freaks and Tybalts for that reason, because Rakdos Shred Freak was hybrid black-green, or not black-green, black-red, and then Tybalt was double red, so 4 red, turn 3. Yeah, that was always really helpful for casting spells to draw cards to get a demigod. So, and I want to get it signed so bad, but I don't know. I checked a while ago, and the artist is never really doing cons or anything, so I don't know where I would ever find him. It's I just looked it up too. Oh well. Anyways, I don't think he comes around very often. That's the sad part.
So mine is Restoration Angel. It's a 3 generic, 1 white, flash flying. It's a 3/4, and when it comes into play, you can exile target non-angel creature you control, then return that creature to that card to the battlefield under your control. So it's a flicker effect on a flash flying body. The reasoning is, back when I first started Magic, it was around that block, Avacyn Restored, I believe.
Oh hey.
And I was playing a lot of FNM at Channel Fireball. That's actually where I first started playing. And I got my butt kicked constantly. I had no clue what I was doing, and I pretty much got thrown in with the Sharks immediately. So one day I was, I had a ruling question, so I called the judge, and I'm pretty sure it was, something really stupid. But, so I asked the question, the judge answered it, and he said, hey, I know we ran out of these promos, but you can have mine. And he handed me the launch promo of Restoration Angel.
Aww.
So it was the very first promo I ever received, and it also helped that it's a good card, and the art is straight up amazing on the promo. I love how the art looks, the contrast between the blues and the whites and stuff. It looks really cool. So yeah, that's why. It also doesn't hurt that it's a really good card.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Kiki Jiki, come over here.
You're gonna get a hug, and then we're gonna make another of you. And then we're gonna make a million of you.
Yeah. Infinite Angels.
Oh, yeah.
Harsh Mentor, what's up?
Oh, no.
I've had to put that in all my decks now because of you and Nick, and not really you. It's really just Nick.
Mostly Nick, because Nick likes ending games with the Kiki combo almost every time.
Yeah, Kiki or Splinter Twin, doesn't matter which. He is
Ouch.
all about it.
Yeah.
And so now Harsh Mentor's in all of my commander decks.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, it works.
Did he run that on Unmannder night?
No. Well, okay. Not in the Unmannder games, because he was playing Johnny.
Yeah.
Okay. So, for reference, this past Wednesday, the 20th, I believe it was, we ran an Unmannder night where people could come down to Comic Collector Shop and play a game with an Uncommander deck, which either had an Uncommander or 10 Uncards in it, and they would get a Iconic Masters pack just for coming in and playing. And we do Commander a lot on Wednesdays, which is where Justin and Kyle play, and then I'm usually running it because I'm working, so I don't get to play. And it makes me very sad, but I got to see a lot of people having a lot of fun and a couple of people getting super salty. So, was that... What
I
about you, Kyle?
I don't think I was in either of those categories, actually. So I brought an Unmannder deck. Mine was on the former of the two camps, where I had an Uncommander. But I actually had almost no Uncards outside of my Commander.
Oh, boo.
Oh, what do you mean, oh, boo? My Commander, the deck revolved around my Commander.
Okay.
So this was not a matter of like, oh, Kyle just played a normal deck and changed his Commander and then didn't play it.
Okay.
Oh, that's sort of what I did.
I was playing Baron von Count.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I destroyed in one game 3 other people with Baron von Count, which happened to be the rest of the people.
Do you want to tell the audience what Baron von Count does?
Yeah. How about you talk about your Uncommander deck while I get that pulled up?
Okay. So I played Grusilda the Monster Masher, and she has a weird ability where she can take 2 creatures from any graveyard and mash them together. And it's called Combined. And she also gives all combined, enchanted, and equipped creatures Menace. So I based my deck around ETBs and Death Triggers. And my end game was either... and I had a lot of stuff that when it comes into play, it deals damage equal to its power to a target player. So of course I played Infect. So with using Griselda, I reanimated a bunch of Infect creatures and just pinged my opponents for Infect damage over and over again. And my win con card in the deck was Infinity Elemental, because I can reanimate Infinity Elemental and deal infinite damage to a guy with the come into play trigger. So yeah, the deck wasn't good by any means, but it was a very cheeky. I'm gonna have like a lot of fun just doing like a lot of stupid come into play effect kind of stuff. So yeah, that's what I played.
Oh, that's bad.
It was really fun, but it wasn't a good deck by any means.
No, it's a little bit mean. It's not the meanest deck that I saw that night.
I mean, a lot of people brought Infect decks to Unmannder night, I noticed.
A lot of people bring Infect decks whenever we do anything different with Commander. It's like when we run leagues and we make restrictions, I noticed that about half the decks tend to be Infect for the first time around, just because people aren't really sure.
Yeah.
Like, it's a safe way to go to guarantee yourself at least second place.
Yeah.
So
nah, you kill like one person, man.
I mean, in a
in a 3-person game though, that's second place.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
That's and for a lot of the leagues and stuff, that's what we run is 3-person pods. So.
All right. So moving back to Baron von Count, he's 1, a black and a red for a legendary creature, human villain. And he enters the battlefield with a doom counter on 5. Now, it's kind of important to note that his art actually has the number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in that order across the top. So you put the doom counter physically on the 5 in that picture. And whenever you cast a spell with the indicated numeral in its mana cost, text box, power, or toughness, move the doom counter 1 numeral to the left. So, when the doom counter moves from 1, destroy target player and put that doom counter on 5. There's a few really interesting things here. First is it has to be a numeral. It can't be the word 1, it can't be the word 5. And Magic, over the course of its history, has changed the numbers to be words to be numbers. Or in one case, let's look at Soul Ring. If you get a new Soul Ring, the card... it costs 1, so that's a 1, and it makes 2 colorless mana symbols. It adds that to your mana pool, right? However, if you get an older Soul Ring, not even that much older, this is a really recent change.
Yeah.
If you get an older Soul Ring, it will say add 2 to your mana pool, and the number 2 is on that card, and I believe that is intended to be how it is played to some degree, and as in so much as unstable, and the unsets in general don't take themselves too seriously. But so I had to actually go through my collection and find some of the older Soul Rings, an older Thran Dynamo. Thran Dynamo. Yeah, okay, whatever. We got there eventually. So on and so forth. For any of the mana rocks that produce colorless mana. Another interesting thing I found is that, do you know how Japanese cards say target player?
No.
It is one person.
Oh.
One Jin. I believe. I don't know. There's other ways to pronounce that character, but ultimately, I'm pretty sure that means one person. You pick one person. And it actually uses the number 1. So any card that targets that is in Japanese, like, say, a Consuming Vapors from a Japanese version of the Wizards deck from the Commander 2017, has a 1 in it. Regardless of anything else, it has one more number than any American version of that card. It's the numeral 1 printed on the card. Which was an accident that I found this. Like, I was just looking over cards, trying to find out ones that had 3 or more different numbers on them. And I was like, wait, that's a 1. What does Consuming Vapors do 1 of? And then I actually looked at the card side by side, its American counterpart, and I was like, that's how they say target. And then I looked at some more Japanese cards, and I was like, yeah, that means target. So, and the deck revolved around just playing... It almost never played Baron von Count and got him to go off in the same turn. I'm sure there's a list that could. But ultimately, like, it would be a matter of everybody would be dealing with each other, and they would have to determine, do I think he can get there? And when they thought, no, I don't think he can, one of them died. Because I could.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God. That's great.
And I think I killed the last...
So mean.
2 people in consecutive turns. Like, it was funny. It didn't feel powerful. It takes way too long to set up.
I think that's what I noticed, especially at our shop. I don't know how it is with other stores and other Unmannder like groups. It felt that, like, people were playing a lot weaker decks that they usually did, just for the sake of playing something fun and silly.
Mine was supposed to be pretty beefy, but I read the card wrong. So I thought that I had to have things that said 0. Like, I had to move the count to 0. Turns out you just have to play something that costs 1, and it will move the counter off 1. Which is what triggers the effect.
Okay.
So I had a bunch of cards that were there because they had a 0 in them that could have been better, but, you know... Whoops, I guess I made a deck that wasn't too beefy. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's kind of what they were going with by making Commander, or making unaccessible in Commander until the 15th, was to try and see if people would adopt the idea for more casual play, because Commander was invented as a casual format, even if it's not kind of like, you know, Super Smash Bros. Is now super competitive.
All right, well,
it's a party game. It is a party game.
Speaking of casual, let's talk about somebody being a little bit not casual enough.
Oh yeah, this was a story that I heard. Now I'm the store manager, so I was running around because my coworker and my employee had both called in sick. So it was just me that night, and it's just before Christmas, so there's a bunch of people coming in and buying stuff. So I didn't actually get involved in this, and we'll get a little into that in a second. So there's a card in one of the earlier unsets, I believe it's unglued, it's unhinged, called Frankie Peanuts. He's a 4-drop, 2 white, 2 colorless, legendary creature elephant rogue, and he's got a 2/3 body, plus an effect. That ability is, at the beginning of your upkeep, you may ask target player a yes or no question. If you do, that player answers the question truthfully and abides by that answer, if able, until end of turn. So someone, and I don't know who, because no one's actually been able to tell me their name, which tells me they're new to the store, came in and used this Frankie Peanuts in their deck, possibly as their commander. Again, I'm getting all of this secondhand. And the question they asked was a coercive logic question, which if you don't know what a coercive logic question is, the idea is you have a predetermined outcome you want to happen, and you shape the yes or no question so that that outcome has to happen no matter what the actual answer is. In this case, the question was, will you do both or neither of the following groups this turn? Group 1, say no to this question. Group 2, concede the game. So if you answer yes, you have just agreed to concede the game, and you concede the game. If you answer no, you have just done one of the two things, and the question says that you have to do both, so you have to concede the game. Right? This is the predetermined outcome. Except that can't happen. Kind of like how an opposing player cannot take over your turn with like Mindslaver and then concede for you. No card effect can actually make you concede the game. Somewhere in 7.14, I don't remember exactly which part, but I did have to look it up after the fact. Basically, this player, from what I understand, what I was told, rushed through that process and forced another player to concede. And because I was busy, they did not call up to me. Normally I would field the judge question. And even if that wasn't the rule, I honestly, it's Unmannder. That's seriously try hard. That would not be allowed. That kind of, it's just very mean as a way to knock out your opponent. It's cheating the system, taking the card effect and using it to take what should be a fun game and turn it into, haha, I'm smarter than you. And you're not, is the thing, because if you say no to Frankie Peanuts, and Frankie Peanuts makes you lose the game because you're going to break a rule, right, and you'd be disqualified or whatever, except you can't lose the game because it can't force you to concede. So pushing your opponent through that and forcing them to concede anyways, even though they don't have to, that's the kind of thing, like, I'm very curious as to who it is, and nobody's told me yet, because that was not something that I appreciated hearing about, and it's not something that normally happens in the store, and it was kind of, like, seriously, to try that hard at Unmannder night for a pack of Iconic Masters was hilariously little sad.
You didn't even have to win to get the Iconic Masters pack. You just had to participate.
Yeah, so like bringing that level of spike to it is just kind of amazing, because everybody who participated got one. Like, there were a couple guys who didn't even bring Unmannder decks. They just came to hang out with their friends and play. I still gave them Iconic Masters. That's whatever.
I know a few people came in, bought some packs, and then slipped those cards into their decks to make them Unmannder decks. Mm-hmm. Like, I honestly had a lot of fun playing with the cards, especially with the groups I played in. Yeah, it's definitely, they're not supposed to be competitive or even necessarily reliable. Yeah.
For example, I'm working on a old Buzzbark commander deck, and I'm going to use him afterwards, just because I really kind of like his effect. And I play 40k as well, which has a lot of 6-sided dice, so I have literally hundreds of 6-sided die, and the dream is to play old Buzzbark for 100, which old Buzzbark is red, green, X cost of any color, legendary creature, goblin, 3/3 body, and when he enters the battlefield, roll a number of dice equal to X from a number of inches above the battlefield equal to X. Any dice touching, or if a die is touching any of your creatures, it gains +1/+1 counters equal to the result. If a die is touching an opposing creature, old Buzzbark deals damage to that creature equal to the result. So I would like to have to figure out how I'm going to get the ladder to allow me to roll it from 100 inches up. That would be pretty funny. So
I have a fun story. So a guy in our group was playing a Grixis deck. I forgot who the commander is, but on turn 1 he played Censorship. And Censorship is a 1-mana enchantment that says when it comes into play, you choose a word. When any player says the chosen word, Censorship deals 2 damage to him or her. And he chose like a really common word. Didn't
he pick it?
Yeah, he picked it.
Yeah.
So when you speak, you don't really think about like thinking about whether you're saying the word it or not. So it casually kept slipping out. And like I think that card dealt each person like minimum like 20 something damage.
Oh, you said it again. Oh, now I've said it.
And then what was even better was later he played another enchantment, ow, and it says whenever you take damage you have to say ow or else you take 2 more damage. So after he played ow, he bounced his own censorship and then played it again and named the word ow. And then he also had this like really stupid instant. It was so good. It was a 2 and a blue, and it you can play it and it bounces a target permanent. So it's like a capsize. And it also has one of the keywords from one of the older unsets called gotcha. And the gotcha was if an opponent says a number. So anytime anyone would go like, oh, I take 2 damage, he's like, oh, gotcha, and he puts the card back in his hand. So he would always have a 3-mana bounce spell in his hand. And we just sat there, we're like, uh-oh. Like, we're like locked down. But it was really fun, like.
All you gotta do is copy his censorship and make the word gotcha. So that he can instantly bounce it back to your hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, big problems, but
it was, like, I mean, it wasn't overly powerful at all because he didn't abuse it, but it was a lot of fun. Like, his deck was really creative.
There's a little bit of that with Unmannder that you have to kind of trust the people you're playing with, because I remember this was about 2 weeks ago. This was you and me, Kyle, when I sat down with Narset. And Narset, my Narset is not optimized in the slightest. But we sat down and I went, okay, I have a couple of uncards in here, and Kyle's initial reaction was something along the lines of, no, I don't think I want to play with you. I'm like, okay, but I have Sword of Dungeons and Dragons and Anime Library, and your reasoning was a lot of the uncards can be more powerful, can be abused, which is definitely true. But I'm like, Sword of Dungeons and Dragons isn't even a good sword.
It's probably the worst sword.
Like, it is definitely the worst sword.
Well,
protection from rogues and clerics.
Okay, protection-wise, it's definitely the worst sword. It is questionable as to whether or not the 4/4 flying dragon is enough to push it over some of the lesser played swords.
I would say Sword of Dungeons and Dragons, in terms of what it does, is still better than Body and Mind, the Wolf Mill one.
And Commander, probably.
Yeah. Well, I'd argue that the blank protection from blue and green is still more valuable than the 4/4 flyer.
Yeah.
Just because you're going to face a lot of blue and green, and it covers a wide variety of decks. But
that's understandable, yeah.
The other one was Animate Library, which makes your library into a creature with power and toughness equal to the number of cards in it. And I remember casting that and tapping to attack for 47, and that was the most beautiful part of that game, in my opinion.
I'm glad you liked it. I have changed my mind on Animate Library. So my end result for what I want to deal with as far, because it was entertaining. The Unmannder games were like, okay, yeah, cool. But I am ready to go back to regular Commander. There are a few caveats that a few people have been like, well, I've got some uncards in my deck, and I'm like, okay, whatever, it's fine. And I think my main things are, it can't involve anybody from outside the game.
No kind slavers.
No kind slavers, no gimme fives. Like, not only is it just disruptive to the game in general, a game that's already hard to keep on track.
And takes long even when it's going really well and everybody's focused.
Yeah. But overall, just so no involving outside the game. I could be convinced. I just don't think it's worth dealing with contraptions. Although they are pretty tame. Like, I don't think contraptions are actually fundamentally a problem. I just don't think the format needs more crap to deal with and to keep up with. Like, people already have trouble keeping track of board states that are 5 people wide. And then I think Animate Library is on the list of it. There is no comparable effect. Like, there are a few creatures that have like a Sarah avatar, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
And they're already like really beastly. And the difference between a commander player life total and a average normal player life total is 20, whereas the difference between a constructed deck of 60 and a commander deck of 99 is 40 or 39, roughly 40. So I've kind of gone back on Animate Library. It's one of those that if you allow it, it can be abused, right? Like it's a very, very powerful effect. Also, nothing that lets you break zones. I don't think 5-finger discount's okay, and it's actually fairly costed for like what it does from a conceptual standpoint. I just don't think that you once again need to add a layer of somebody now has taken my card and put it into their hand, or like. And so if it does change zones, so you can't shuffle, if they shuffle their hand in their library with an effect, you do get your card back. But like keeping up with that and just in general, like the flavor of the card doesn't really work for me. And that leaves a lot of cards, like most of which are comparable. Like Baron von Count was on the edge for me.
Infinity Elemental's incredibly tame. Like, most cases, I would say like a Blightsteel Colossus is better.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, except it says infinite, right? Like, that just, you can't, no.
Like, you straight up die if you get hit by either.
Okay, yeah, but you can block part of the Blightsteel Colossus. If you give the Infinity Elemental Trample, it becomes instant kill.
Or you just kill it, because it has 5 toughness.
Yeah, sure, but it's still breaking super hard. And what's the casting cost on it again?
It's 8 mana.
And most of the decks I've seen that run Blightsteel Colossus usually cheat it out and swing when they're sure they're going to get rid of at least one player.
Or they give it
Sure.
unblockable or something weird.
So really they're about as abusable as each other.
Blightsteel Colossus is also indestructible. And it gets shuffled back in when it dies.
But Kyle has a
Like,
point. It is
yeah.
so much easier to make because Rancor and now Infinity Elemental is
Yeah.
a one-hit kill.
Like, I can understand that, but it's
Sorry,
also like
Infinity plus 2
I
Elemental.
just don't
I
think
would-
it's comparable.
I would rather stare down an Infinity Elemental than like an Ulamog, or a Blightsteel or something.
Yeah, it has an infinite symbol on it, which is not something that we can actually comprehend. Like, we make up ways to kind of comprehend what infinity is, but like we don't. Like we can't. It's just infinite, right? Like it's a concept so abstract that we just refer to everything to which we don't know the end as infinite, right? Like just no. Just no.
Well, I think I'm still gonna keep my my Unmannder deck sleeved up. I had a lot of fun with it, and maybe someday in the future, like if we do want to play another Unmannder game just for the fun of it, I'll still have my deck on me.
Yeah, mine's gone. It's already gone. It's not even January 15th, and mine is just toast.
I'm gonna keep mine around, and I'm honestly gonna keep the cards in Narset just because again my Narset's not too old.
Well, that's the thing.
It's whatever.
I actually like, as far as playing with our play group goes. This isn't just a things I'm willing to put up with till January 15th. Like, I'm just okay with like you want to put Crowstorm in your deck? Okay, it does pretty much the same thing as Into the Warrens. Let's be honest.
It's
Yeah.
Like, maybe even a little worse. Because turns out 2/1/1s going wide is pretty powerful. So just do it. Like, it's fine. You should always know your play group before you just do it, for the record. But
alert your play group.
Yeah.
but I've given this opinion to a lot of the people in the play group, and people seem to agree.
Don't be the one kid who came in and sat down and started playing and then went. Anyways, this was before Unstable, by the way. This was in the summer. He pulls out an uncard and goes to cast it, and the rest of the table's like, wait, what? Oh, Un's legal in Commander. No, it's not. Yeah, it is. No, it's not. My other play group lets me do it. We're not your other play group.
That happened to me once. Like, a guy dropped a Goblin Bookie, which I'm like, it's not even that powerful, but I told him, like, it's a slippery slope. Like, I let you use this, and then someone else can make an argument for like to use their uncard. So it's easier to just say like no uncards in this game right now. Like we're not just don't do it.
Yeah. And that's why, again, before the game with you, I sat down and went, I have 2 uncards in here. This is what they are. Is everybody cool with that?
Yeah. It's the same thing, like, if you have a sideboard for your commander deck, let the play group know that this is your sideboard. This is what I'm probably gonna, grab with Coax from the Blind Eternities or a Burning Wish.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. You guys want to move on to the next set?
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah.
What was it? It was talking about...
Vana's.
Yeah.
That's
Vana's
right.
thing.
Yeah, so we
Vana's blessing.
finally got what our next keyword for the set. What was it? The
Blessed by the City.
Yeah, yeah.
Rivals.
Ascend for Rivals of Ixalan.
Yeah.
I mean, we only have 1 card spoiled so far, but it looks pretty interesting.
So we had, because I got the tokens, and I had brought them out when we recorded the last
We
podcast.
had no clue what they did.
But yeah, we saw that one token, and we're just like, blessed by the city, cool. And we ended up not actually talking about it, but now we actually have kind of an answer, and it was sort of what I figured it was. It's Monarch, but a little more varied, where Monarch was always one specific thing, and then I think there was 3 cards that dealt with, if you're Monarch, you also get this bonus.
Yeah, like you drain them for life or something.
Yeah, and they weren't crazy.
Yeah.
And this one, it looks like it's mostly gonna focus specifically on that.
Yeah, so let's read the card, and then we'll talk about it a little bit more. It's Vana's Hunger. It's 2 and a black for an instant, and it has a keyword Ascend. If you control 10 or more permanents, you get the city's blessing for the rest of the game. Each opponent sacrifices a creature. If you have the city's blessing, instead each opponent sacrifices half the creatures he or she controls, rounded up. So there's a few things I don't know, unless this has been confirmed or denied in some forum, and that is Ascend. Is Ascend always controlling 10 or more permanents? Or is that just how you ascend in this case? Right? It's in the reminder text, so that would make me think that that's always how it works.
I assume that's always how it works, because it is in the reminder text.
But it's 10 or more permanents?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so really this is pirates, it's treasure. This is about treasure.
Yeah, it's treasure.
Treasure.
And suddenly some of the cards we saw, which the one where it's like, hey, how many lands do you have? Go put that many treasures in.
Although Explorer gets this pretty consistent too, because you're most likely hitting your land drops every turn if you're using Explorer. It helps.
Yeah, sure. There's a lot of things.
The thing with treasure is
help, but it's
most
not
of the time when
synergy.
the thing with treasure is most of the time when you cast my 2/2 pirate that makes a treasure,
Then
you're getting
now you've got two
permanents off of 1 card.
Treasure. It's treasure.
So you've got the 2 lands plus the pirate plus the treasure. You're already up to 4. You could easily turn 4 this probably.
Yeah.
I bet.
I mean, the card is... I mean, it's nice to get a really good Edict back again ever since we lost the Slaughter, whatever. What was it?
Edict of Slaughter. Oh, to the Slaughter.
To the Slaughter from Shadows over Innistrad.
Yeah. Yep.
It's nice to get more Edicts back. I don't know how good it's going to be, just because we do have Vraska's Contempt.
Yeah, I imagine that this will not be a bad card.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to know.
Yeah. The downside of this card I see is it doesn't get rid of the Scarab God. It does get rid of the indestructible gods, which is nice, but
yeah. Hazoret gets
Hazoret does get hit by it, which is nice, and also if you force him to sacrifice half their permanents, they're just gonna keep their Hazoret and some other stuff, aren't they?
No, it's just half their creatures.
Half their creatures, okay.
Yeah, if it was permanents, it'd be crazy.
I mean, so if they have 3 or 4 creatures out, or even 2 creatures, they'll just keep their Hazoret, won't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
You'll have to put them in a position where you have to force them to sack their Hazoret.
An interesting thing to note is the word instant.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
That's a fairly valid thing.
Yeah. Getting instant speed removal is always really nice.
Well, look at the difference between Cruel Edict and Diabolic Edict.
Yeah.
Right? One of them is in Legacy right now.
Yeah. It's like we've been missing a Hero's Downfall effect for a long time.
We're still missing it.
We're still missing it, and they keep making it a sorcery.
Yeah.
Which is what I have a big problem with. And this is like a step in the right direction.
Well, Vraska's is an instant.
Yeah, Vraska's is an instant, and it also gains you 2 life. It does cost you 1 more. Costs double black, which can hurt. It's harder to splash.
So did Hero's Downfall.
Yeah, so did Hero's Downfall.
Yeah, no, I think Vraska's is appropriately close to Hero's Downfall.
I think this will see play. Vana's Hunger. I think it will see play. Yeah, we'll see. We'll have to see how good it is though. It might just be like a 1 or 2 of in like control decks.
So if the main part of this is each opponent sacrifices a creature, or even each opponent sacrifices half the creatures he controls rounded up, it's an okay card.
Yeah,
like it might see play. If the main part of this is you have the City's Blessing for the rest of the game,
yeah,
that's a whole different
that's
story.
true. It does give you City's Blessing. Yeah,
Does, you don't lose it. Any card with the Send now no longer cares if you still have 10 permanents.
That's true. Yeah.
Huh.
Shoot.
Although, is there a way to, like, we'll have to see what cards there are, but there may come a card that removes it, right?
Yeah,
Monarch doesn't specifically say that you lose it at any point either. It's
when you take combat damage.
Take combat damage.
It's in the rules. It's in the rules for Monarch.
Yeah, it's in the rules for Monarch.
But Conspiracy is like a weird thing, and actually it's on the Monarch token, right?
Yeah, on the Monarch token it says you gain Monarch. It doesn't say you gain Monarch for the rest of the game or
true. Yeah,
like it's straight up just says you gain Monarch and then you lose Monarch. And then you lose Monarch when you take combat damage.
Sorry.
It's I imagine there probably won't be a way to remove the City's Blessing. That's gonna be my guess.
I think at most they're gonna have like certain cards that is a detriment if you have City's Blessing. Like you can use it on their opponent, and if they have City's Blessing, maybe they take like 3 extra damage or something.
They're probably going to be Merfolk related too, because their whole shtick in the lore, as far as I can tell, is that they're trying to keep people away from the city.
Yeah.
Like they don't even know where the city is beyond a rough idea, just because like they refuse to go there because it is so corrupting. So there's probably going to be several Merfolk cards that I like Justin said, I would imagine have some kind of detriment if you have the Blessing of the City.
I doubt there's going to be some that detriment you for having the Blessing. I suspect that there will be ones that do extra things if your opponent has it.
No, that's what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah, so because if you have it and then I cast a spell that does extra stuff because you have it, that in my head, there's now a card with a detriment because you have it.
Yeah, sure.
The real place I think Ascend and City's Blessing is going to shine is definitely going to be Commander, though.
Oh yeah,
you can hit 10 permanents so easy in Commander.
Turn 1 land Soul Ring.
Yeah.
Turn 2 second land Thran Dynamo.
Yeah.
You aren't thinking hard enough,
yeah.
Mike.
Yeah. No, you can do this
the other night.
What?
I went turn 1 land Mana Crypt Chrome Mox Diamond Jaleva.
Okay, you just said about half my paycheck, so we're good.
I mean, I've seen Nick land Narset on turn 1, so.
It's turn 2 is the fastest you said it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. But like, Ascend is gonna be insane in Commander. I feel.
It depends.
Depends on the cards they print.
If the effects look like this, nah.
No, I think Vana's Blessing is gonna see playing Commander.
Vana's Hunger will.
Yeah.
Each opponent. It is a good card. But it's insane is not the word to describe this. If this is the pinnacle of Ascension, if we have ascended to our final form with this card, Ascension will just be a thing that happens sometimes.
It's a 3-drop, right?
Yeah, it's a 3-drop. It's good.
Yeah,
it's a great card.
Yeah, I can see that getting followed up by a Rise of the Dark Realms in a particularly combo-y way, and then have a nice day, everyone else.
Okay, yeah, but you do the same thing playing Rise from the Dark Realms. 90% of games, there is enough things having died or interaction on the board that like just playing Rise from the Dark Realms is enough. And most of the time, you're relying on your graveyard for a lot of it.
Yeah. Oh man, I really need to find my Rise of the Dark Realms now. I want to make a deck with it.
Yeah,
I'm actually really excited to see what else they'll do for City's Blessing. It looks like a really cool, fun mechanic. And yeah, I'm definitely excited to see what they do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that the Ascension to 10 or more permanents slows down the format and takes Teamer off the hot seat.
Oh, yeah. True.
Why would you want your own deck to be off the hot seat?
I can play any deck. I don't want to play. I don't want to be forced to play the only mechanic in the format right now.
Kyle,
I mean, I've tried Teamer. It's sort of boring.
Well, I mean,
It's a very it feels very I don't know if you guys played back then, but Abzan mid range, where literally every single turn is pretty much predetermined for you.
do you want to play a mirror match or lose?
But I mean, what I'm talking about is
Yeah.
Abzan mid range is turn 1 Warden, turn 2 Fleece Main Lion, turn 3 Anafenza, turn 4 Siege Rhino. Almost every game.
no,
That's how
I
it
mean,
went.
one of my best. My PTU win was Naya Blood Zoo, back in 2009. 2009. Yeah, I'm a time traveler from the future. Naya Zoo is good again.
Oh my god. Rip.
Where it was turn 1 to Cattle, turn 2. I should remember this better. The Wolf, right? Anyway, the point being, I don't. That's not the problem I have with Teamer. I have a problem in that it is format breaking. It's every deck is an energy deck, or one of the few decks that red that tries to cheese through damage, right? And most of them are running stuff like maybe Harsh Mentor in the main, Rampaging Ferocity in the main, because they can just rely on that to kill Teamer. It's like back. It looks like Ravager right now.
Yeah.
Teamer looks like Ravager. Well, not Teamer. Sorry, Energy in general, because there are 4 color. There's Sultai. There's Teamer, but Energy as a mechanic right now looks like Ravager did back in Mirrodin before the bans.
Yeah.
And it's not been fun.
It's very resilient. It can recover really quickly. That's usually in most formats where a mid-range deck does take the lead. It can usually be balanced out with another control deck. But right now, Energy, it has so much late game stuff. It has so much recovery.
It has Bristling Hydra.
Yeah, a lot of card draw, Bristling Hydra.
There's not enough wipes in the format right now to make it okay.
Most of the energy decks are playing blue themselves, so they can have a few counter spells themselves.
Spell Pierce.
Yeah,
that's non-creature, right?
Yeah, you want to balance the format. Print what is it? Supreme Verdict.
Oh god, I would love Supreme Verdict.
It's done.
Back.
Yep. You're done. Because now their negates that they can put in, or their commits. Well, and actually, commit would still work.
Commit would still work. Yeah.
That's 4 mana. It's okay. The things that Teamer could guard against stuff with, because right now the best thing you've got is Bantu's Rev, which is terrible.
Yeah.
That card is, or Bantu's Reckoning. Sorry, Rev.
Yeah. Or Fumigate.
Fumigate's 5 mana. Cool.
Fumigate's
so you
so
already
slow.
took a nug from the Bristling Hydra.
You took a nug from the Bristling Hydra. You're probably taking small beats from the freaking the Long Tusk Cup already.
Yeah, and and by the way, after you play it, here's my Glory Bringer. Get Glory Brought.
Yeah.
It is not.
It's a very resilient deck, and it's to the point that even other control decks are having trouble keeping it under control.
They're not. They just aren't.
Yeah.
Control can't control it right now. And I think a Wrath effect can't be counterable. Might be important because Teamer is in blue, Sultai is in blue. I could see them easily maneuvering, but even then, if they have to spend card slots on that, it might be okay.
Yeah. If they're
even
spending...
Wrath of God might just fix this.
Yeah, if they're leaving up mana for a commit to memory, they're leaving up 4 mana already, which means they're not committing more to the board.
Yeah, although if they already have a Hydra, you still
that's true.
Pretty much.
I would love a Supreme Verdict back in format. That'd be nice.
Oh man.
We don't need Sphinx's Rev back, but Supreme Verdict would be nice.
Please don't bring Sphinx's Rev back.
That card was broken during that format.
Sphinx's Rev I was using it in Modern just when I started playing Modern, because Naveed, which actually I don't think either of you two know him.
No.
He was the guy helping with the Modern team years and years ago, and by years and years I mean 3. Anyways, so he put 2 Sphinx's Revs in the deck when he was helping me build it, and I'm like, these are terrible. He's like, no, but if they don't play anything, you play it and you get life. I'm like, but I could Snapcast or Lightning Bolt. No, but Sphinx's Rev. And I still have to fight that urge because I've been playing with it for so long. I know it's good, but I also just really, really want to Snapcast or Lightning Bolt. So, That's a total
Yeah.
random aside, I know.
I just
I'm not
remember
in
during that
so.
standard format, I would swing in for like 6, do all this work after their supreme verdict. I play another threat, swing in for 6, and they go, okay, Sphinx is ref for 8. And it would just feel so bad because all my work was undone.
Yeah. So, that was, I don't know, man. That's pretty nasty.
Yeah.
But,
Hopefully we get more spoilers for Rivals soon.
yeah. I'm really hoping that we get... Because they're going to start dropping them harder in January. And I'm mostly going off of the promos that we've received so far. Which is definitely nowhere near... We're not even looking at, like, a tenth of the set, right? It's what, total 4 cards. Most of them are tokens. But I'm definitely excited to see where the actual where the story goes and where the set goes. I'm not as excited for standard as you guys because I don't really play standard. Actually, I don't play it at all.
I have to be excited. GP's coming up.
Yeah, you're your team standard player.
Yeah, I'm our team standard.
Oh man.
I mean, at least I'm not practicing for Legacy and starting a new format like a month before the tournament.
What do you mean? I started like 4 months ago.
Okay.
All right. So
I've been playing for months now.
Okay.
I know Legacy. I mean, okay, I don't. I know I don't. Before
Compared to-
anybody comments on this about how they've been playing Legacy for 10 years and I couldn't possibly know the depth of the format, I know how little I know, okay?
You're a newbie compared to those people.
However, I am competent enough to stand at tournaments and perform reasonably well at this point.
Yeah.
I haven't been playing Storm for the last 10 years, so...
Okay, this is going to sound horrible. What entails a GP? I don't actually know.
I'm not 100% sure what...
I run the tournaments. I run like drafts and stuff. So like, what's with the teams? Like you're the team's standard player.
Okay, so this is not GPs. This is a format, a newer format called Team Trios. And in Team Trios, you have 3 players: a standard, a modern, and a legacy player.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
They're trying to make it more esportsy.
You go against another team, and then so I will play the team's legacy player. Nick will play the team's modern player, and Jared will play the team's standard player. We're all sitting at a table. We can talk. We didn't realize that. You can ask, "Hey Nick, should I keep this hand? What do you think?"
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
There is some caveats to that, and I could go further in depth about it. Maybe we will next
at some point.
At some point, but as far as like you can't get up and leave and come back and stuff like that. During a competitive REL
that makes sense. Like,
but the gist of it being like you can do that. The standard and the legacy player don't talk much because the modern player is always in the middle. That's how they do it. I don't know if it's for organizational purposes, for practical purposes, but let's be honest. What does a standard player really need anyway?
I think it's probably because they're assuming that you're going to put the person who has the most experience in the appropriate slot, right? So the person who's been playing Legacy is going to be your person who's been playing Legacy the longest. And then the second most experienced person is going to be the person doing Modern, right? As a general assumption. So the standard player is not really going to be able to help the Legacy player. You may. That's not always going to be true. But
well, okay.
That'd
So
be my guess.
first of all, I'm sure Legacy players love that you make that assumption because I think they do too. I think that time in a format does not directly equate to the skills needed to perform well. But it is a non-negligible part of it. But if you put a 10-year Legacy veteran into Standard, you could still watch a Standard player stomp on him, because you just know about a format, not about like the experiencedness of the game, right? You could be in format for 20 years, and you'll be experienced Standard player, but you throw them into Legacy, etc. So it has nothing to do with I think the relative experience of the players, even though a lot of times it probably does work out that way. The point being, getting back to the topic of how it works. So you each play your match.
Mm-hmm.
And then the team that wins 2 of their matches wins as a team. Individual records don't mean anything. Your team's 2-1 win percentage is what's important. And so we did our first practice tournament this week. CFB ran because they're the ones doing the GP, and I think it might be practice for them as much as for us.
That's probably a lot of it. I would not put it past John to set that up.
So we played our first one. We can do better. And we ended up 2-2. I think Nick was 3-1. I was 2-2. And Jared was 1-3. And it was interesting. So for the GP, not much changes except for like how they treat it when you get up. Like you can no longer advise your allies if you leave and come back to use like the bathroom or something.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I would immediately be like, as a TO, be like, okay, why'd you get up? Why'd you walk by them? I wouldn't want you in the off chance.
Well, you're allowed to go pee or go have a smoke break. Like that's a thing that you're allowed to do. But you can at a competitive REL or higher, you can no longer advise your allies when you get back. Because you could go ask somebody, right? You could go to the bathroom and be like, question, right? There's so many ways to do that it's just easier to do that. And once you leave your table, like if the game ends and you stay there and you haven't left the table all game, you can wrap up your game and continue to advise your teammates. So the last person done can get advice from his teammates. But if you get up and leave, you cannot even sit back down anymore at competitive REL tournaments.
Huh.
Interesting.
Okay.
Because you might have gained some outside knowledge from somebody somehow. Yeah.
You bumped into his last opponent or whatever.
Something like that, yeah. I really like it, though. I thought it was going to feel just like 3 people playing games of Magic. And the addition of asking questions or being able to communicate plus like the team mentality is nice. I really like it. I want to see more of it.
Okay.
Cool.
I haven't practiced much, so this is what I have to look forward to at the GP.
Yeah, or you could come to next week's practice or I guess we got store champs. But...
Yeah. I mean, You guys are in it to win it. My team is literally, we're going there just as our first GP and just see how we do. And for a lot of us in our team, it's going to be literally our first GP.
Yeah, my first GP, I got 122nd out of 1,900 people.
Oh, wow.
Wow, I'm so surprised.
My hero, Kyle.
Come on, man.
My idol, Kyle. Gonna go pro soon.
Well, I'm definitely excited to talk about the GP. We got a couple of fun topics that are going to be coming up next month. I think we're pretty good for today, though. So next month we're going to be talking about a couple different things. We'll definitely touch on the GP. We'll start touching on some more of the spoilers. And then on top of that, we're going to be interviewing a couple of the regulars about what it is like to game with your child, how they got into playing Magic and why they continue to play with their kids, and what unique challenges, hurdles, etc. So I'm very excited to do those things. But until then, it's going to be another. So this is going to come out the Friday after Christmas 2017, and then it will be 2 weeks from then, so we won't see you guys again until the new year, unless you actually stop by Comic Collector Shop and say hello, in which case I will see you whenever you actually stop in.
Yeah, definitely come down and play a few games.
Yeah. And based on my time traveling from earlier, maybe I'll see some of you 11 years from now.
In the future.
In 2029.
There you go.
So you should know by now what all the new Ascend and new set stuff does, right?
Why are you holding out on us, Kyle?
There's a lot of ethics when it comes to time travel.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but
so how's drafting Dominaria?
All right. This has been the cleanup step, and I think it is time for us to remove damage and get ready for the next turn.
Discard your hand.
See you later, guys.